Chapter 25 of the American Housewife. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Alana Jordan. The American Housewife by Anonymous. Chapter 25. Common Simple Dyes. 433. To dye black. Allow a pound of logwood to each pound of goods that are to be dyed. Soak it overnight in soft water, then boil it an hour, and strain the water in which it is boiled. For each pound of logwood, dissolve an ounce of blue vitriol in lukewarm water sufficient to wet the goods. Dip the goods in. When saturated with it, turn the whole into the logwood dye. If the goods are cotton, set the vessel on the fire and let the goods boil 10 or 15 minutes, stirring them constantly to prevent their spotting. Silk and woolen goods should not be boiled in the dye stuff, but it should be kept at a scalding heat for 20 minutes. Drain the goods without wringing, and hang them in a dry, shady place, where they will have the air. When dry, set the color by. Put them into scalding hot water that has salt in it, in the proportion of a teacupful to 3 gallons of the water. Let the goods remain in it till cold, then hang them where they will dry. They should not be wrung. Boiling hot suds is the best thing to set the color of black silk. Let it remain in it till cold. Soaking black dyed goods in sour milk is also good to set the color. 434. Green and blue dye for silks and woolens. For green dye, take a pound of oil of vitriol, and turn it upon half an ounce of Spanish indigo that has been reduced to a fine powder. Stir them well together, then add a hump of pearl ash, the size of a pea. As soon as the fermentation ceases, bottle it. The dye will be fit for use the next day. Chemic blue is made in the same manner, only using half the quantity of vitriol. For woolen goods, the East indigo will answer as well as the Spanish, and comes much lower. This dye will not answer for cotton goods, as the vitriol rots the threads. Wash the articles that are to be dyed till perfectly clean, and free them from color. If you cannot extract the color by rubbing it in hot suds, boil it out, rinse it in soft water till entirely free of soap, as the soap will ruin the dye. To dye a pale color, put to each quart of soft warm water that is to be used for the dye 10 drops of the above composition. If you wish a deep color, more will be necessary. Put in the articles without crowding, and let them remain in it till of a good color. The dye stuff should be kept warm, taking the articles out without wringing. Drain as much of the dye out of them as possible, then hang them to dry in a shady, airy place. They should be dyed when the weather is dry. If not dried quick, they will not look nice. When perfectly dry, wash them in lukewarm suds to keep the vitriol from injuring the texture of the cloth. If you wish for a lively bright green, mix a little of the above composition with yellow dye. 435. Yellow dyes. To dye a buff color, boil equal parts of ornato and common potash in soft clear water. When dissolved, take it from the fire. When cool, put in the goods, which should previously be washed free from spots and color. Set them on a moderate fire, where they will keep hot, till the goods are of the shade you wish. To dye salmon and orange color, tie ornato in a bag, and soak it in warm, soft soap suds till it becomes soft, so that you can squeeze enough of it through the bag to make the suds a deep yellow. Put in the articles, which should be clean and free from color. Boil them till the shade you wish. Should there be enough of the dye to cover the goods, stir them while boiling to keep them from spotting. This dye will make a salmon or orange color according to the strength of it, and the time the goods remain in. Drain them out of the dye, and dry them quick in the shade. When dry, wash them in soft soap suds. Goods dyed in this manner should never be rinsed in clear water. Peach leaves, fustic, and saffron all make a good straw or lemon color according to the strength of the dye. They should be steeped in soft fair water, in an earthen tin or vessel, and then strained, and the dye set with alum, and little gum arabic dissolved in the dye, if you wish to stiffen the article. When the dye stuff is strained, steep the articles in it. 436. Red dyes. Madder makes a good durable red, but not a brilliant color. To make a dye of it, allow for half a pound of it 3 ounces of alum, and 1 of cream of tartar, and 6 gallons of water. This proportion of ingredients will make sufficient dye for 6 or 7 pounds of goods. Heat half of the water scalding hot in a clean brass kettle. Then put in the alum and cream of tartar, and let it dissolve. When the water boils, stir the alum and tartar up in it. Put in the goods, and let them boil a couple of hours. Then rinse them in fair water. Empty the kettle, and put in 3 gallons of water, and the madder. Rub it fine in the water, then put in the goods, and set them where they will keep scalding hot for an hour without boiling. Stir them constantly. When they have been scalding an hour, increase the fire till they boil. Let them boil 5 minutes, then drain them out of the dye, and rinse them, without wringing, in fair water, and hang them in the shade, where they will dry. To dye a fine crimson, take for each pound of goods 2½ ounces of alum, 1½ ounces of white tartar. Put them in a brass kettle with sufficient fair water to cover your goods. Set it where it will boil briskly for several minutes. Then put in the goods, which should be washed clean and rinsed in fair water. When the goods have boiled half an hour, take them out without wringing, and hang it where it will cool all over alike, without drying. Empty out the alum and tartar water, put fresh water in the kettle, and for each pound of goods to be dyed, put in an ounce of cochineal powdered fine. Set the kettle on the fire, and let the water boil 15 or 20 minutes, then put in sufficient cold water to make it lukewarm. Put in the goods, and boil them an hour and a quarter. Take them out without wringing, and dry them in a shady place. The blossoms of the balm of Gilead, steeped with fair water in a vessel, then strained, will dye silk a pretty red color. The silk should be washed clean and free from color, then rinsed in fair water, and boiled in the strained dye, with a small piece of alum. To dye a fine delicate pink, use a carmine saucer. The directions for dyeing come with the saucers. It is too expensive a dye for bulky goods, but for faded fancy shawls and ribbons it is quite worth the while to use it, as it gives a beautiful shade of pink. 437. Slate color dye. To make a good dark slate color, boil sugar loaf paper with vinegar in an iron utensil. Put in alum to set the color. Tea grounds, set with copperas, makes a good slate color. To produce a light slate color, boil white maple bark in clear water with a little alum. The bark should be boiled in a brass utensil. The dye for slate color should be strained before the goods are put into it. They should be boiled in it, and then hung where they will drain and dry. 438. Soap from scraps. Dissolve 18 pounds of potash in 3 pailsful of water, then add to it 25 pounds of grease, and boil it over a slow fire for a couple of hours. Turn it into a barrel, and fill it up with water. 439. Cold soap. Heat 26 pounds of strained grease. When melted, mix it with 4 pailsful of lye, made of 20 pounds of white potash. Let the whole stand in the sun, stirring it frequently. In the course of a week, fill the barrel with weak lye. This method of making soap is much easier than to make a lye of your ashes, while it is as cheap if you sell your ashes to the soap boiler. 440. Hard soap. Dissolve 20 weight of white potash in 3 pailsful of water. Heat 20 pounds of strained grease, then mix it with the dissolved potash, and boil them together till the whole becomes a thick jelly, which is ascertained by taking a little of it out to get cold. Take it from the fire, stir in cold water till it grows thin, then put to each pailful of soap a pint of blown salt. Stir it in well. The succeeding day, separate it from the lye, and heat it over a slow fire. Let it boil a quarter of an hour, then take it from the fire. If you wish to have it a yellow color, put in a little palm oil, and turn it out into wooden vessels. When cold, separate it again from the lye, and cut it in bars. Let them remain in the sun several days to dry. 441. Windsor and Castile soap. To make the celebrated Windsor soap, nothing more is necessary than to slice the best white soap as thin as possible, and melt it over a slow fire. Take it from the fire when melted, and when it is just lukewarm, add enough of the oil of caraway to scent it. If any other fragrant oil is liked better, it may be substituted. Turn it into molds, and let it remain in a dry situation for 5 or 6 days. To make Castile soap, boil common soft soap in lamp oil 3 hours and a half. 442. Bayberry or myrtle soap. Dissolve 2 pounds and a quarter of white potash in 5 quarts of water, then mix it with 10 pounds of myrtle wax or bayberry tallow. Boil the whole over a slow fire till it turns to soap. Then add a teacup of cold water. Let it boil 10 minutes longer. At the end of that time, turn it into tin molds or pans, and let them remain a week or 10 days to dry, then turn them out of the molds. If you wish to have the soap scented, stir into it any essential oil that has an agreeable smell, just before you turn it into the molds. This kind of soap is excellent for shaving and chapped hands. It is also good for eruptions on the face. It will be fit for use in the course of 3 or 4 weeks after it is made, but it is better for being kept 10 or 12 months. End of chapter 25. Recording by Alana Jordan in the great state of Missouri.